You're listening to the Believe in Giants podcast with two-time Super Bowl winner Carl Banks and the voice of the Giants, Bob Papa.
And we welcome you to another edition of Believe in Giants, presented by FanDuel. Bob Papa, two-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks. Giants had a bye this past weekend, and now it's back to work as they take on the Washington Commanders. Carl, did you enjoy your bye weekend at all?
I did. I was in Florida. I went to Art Basel in Miami. I had a very good time. NFL had a installation there, and I sat on a panel with two guys we know well, Brandon Marshall and Martellus Bennett, and even Pac-Man Jones, and it was a really great panel. We talked art, we talked expression. I don't know if a lot of people know Martellus Bennett is an incredible artist, and he had some stuff that he had on display, and Brandon Marshall talked a lot about players and their ability to express their creativity and how the NFL has embraced a lot of that. So it was really cool. We had a great panel.
When you sit on panels like that, Carl, and you think about your days as a player, are you amazed at how far the NFL has advanced? Like, to have all these forums and broadcast boot camp, like all the things that they have, financial literacy classes, even expressing art and former players speaking about it.
Yeah, I just think it's a tribute to the folks that Roger Goodell has hired, and just embracing, it's as much as it is a player's game on the field, it also helps when you can embrace some of the positives that players do off the field, because of, you don't have a YouTube deal, the NFL, I'm speaking NFL, without your players. Your players were on YouTube long before the NFL was entertaining that. And that's where your audience resides. And so they found a way to embrace the creativity of players, but they also said, look, this is a new platform, right? I don't know if you would be so fast to social media as a league if it were not for your players. And so I think, Roger has done a great job in that area. And they also, when you talk about like the broadcast boot camps and the financial literacy stuff, that's also part of his initiative with the player engagement and player development departments. Every team has them, and they're super proactive in helping these players develop skill sets off the field. I got into something with a few people that said that the Giants don't have player development, and they were thinking on field, but I was talking strictly about the folks that they have that help develop these kids' interest outside of football, and also the mental health part of what's going on as well.
Yeah, if you watch Papa's Perspective, which is on the Giant platforms, this year the focus has been, and you'll be a subject of one of the episodes, talking about life after football and how guys find their way, and how through a lot of help of the NFL programs, it gives guys an idea, an opportunity to experience different things as they're a player, to maybe find or narrow their focus on their path. You're a shining light story with Starter and G3 and your clothing line that you've been doing forever. So let's get to the game here, right?
Yep.
Washington, the Commanders, you see them as the Redskins because that's your great rivalry in the 1980s was with this football team. I was doing a little digging. The Giants have lost 3 in a row to Washington. They haven't lost 4 in a row to Washington since the last game of the 98 season, or the last meeting of the 98 season, and the first meeting of the 2000 season. The year the Giants went to the Super Bowl, early in the year, They had lost a home game to Washington, so it was 4 straight losses. They're in jeopardy of being swept by Washington in back-to-back seasons for the first time since you were still at Michigan State. The 82 and 83 seasons were the last time they were swept. So how do they avoid this week?
Well, somebody's got to win it. They're both awful records. I'm sure the folks down in Washington believe that they have some superior talent to beat the Giants. Now, they've suffered some injuries. Their quarterback is down, and I'm not sure if he's going to be back. But their backup is pretty good, Marcus Mariota, pretty good in running their offense. They still have Scary Terry. Ertz is, I think, out with a knee injury. So there are opportunities to, listen, everybody's going to get dressed, all the able bodies, and somebody's got to win the game. And, I am really, really hopeful that this Giant team can play with the fire and the pride of just not mailing it in, which I don't think they will do. But you at some point have got to fix some of the issues that are plaguing you. I am looking forward to the offense continuing to grow and to be productive. But are you going to be another get-right game on defense? Right? Are you going to let a bad team just have their way with you? And, you have who you have out there. I think it's enough. It's certainly enough to be better than you've shown. Let's see if that happens. There's another upheaval in the coaching staff, but it's a business. And you have a job to do. Somebody else doesn't have a job, but you still have yours, so you got to do it.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these numbers here, Carl. And you talked about get-right game. The Giants and Washington mirror each other in the fact that the Giants are 14th in offense. They're 13th rushing, 15th passing. Washington is 18th in offense. They're 4th best rushing. They're 24th in the pass. But then when you go to the defensive side, Giants are ranked 31st. Washington's ranked 30th. Giants are 31st against the run. Washington's 29th. Washington's 30th against the pass. The Giants are 24th against the pass. So it's like really, which defense gets right this week? Because everything is lined up for this to be an exact parallel matchup. How about the bye? Do you think the bye helped the Giants a little bit take a deep breath? I mean, listen, you can't cry about your schedule, but it certainly came woefully late. And maybe a week off refreshed everybody a little bit for these final 4 games?
I would hope so. I think, when I was reading where Jackson Dart said he's all ball during this bye week, guys are going to look to improve where they can and reflect. If you're an offensive player, you can see where you can get, really take the next step. Defensively, the recharge is necessary. I think mentally, that reset should help them. But go back to, where's Washington ranked rushing the ball offensively?
They are 4th in the NFL in rushing.
There you go. So there are a lot of things that are equal, but the one thing they're good at is rushing the football, and the team that's not good at stopping it is the Giants defense. So this will be either the Giants get right defensively, or it'll look similar. That is where I am going to focus. If you want to know if the bye got anything refreshed, re-energized, that's where you want to look, because Washington is going to lean into that, and then they're going to play action pass off of that. Everything else, apples to apples. The Giants can make a few plays and win the game, but if they can't stop the number 4 ranked run offense, then they're not going to have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, and they're 7th in yards per carry, Washington is. So they're pretty consistent with the run. And look, their receiving core, despite the finicky year that they've had with injuries to McLaurin, he's been in and out of the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
But, McLaurin and Deebo Samuel they're elite players. I mean, these are Pro Bowl caliber players, and Mariota has put up some big numbers, even though he doesn't have a good record as the starter this year. A lot of it has to do with them defensively. I mean, you watched that game against Denver a couple of Mondays ago or Sunday nights ago, and it was, they went toe-to-toe with the Broncos just as the Giants did, and both teams had a common denominator. They went toe-to-toe with the best team in the AFC right now, and they both found a way to lose the game.
Yeah, and it was, it came down to one play with Washington. Cliff Kingsbury has done a great job with the scheme of their offense. They get guys open. They run a lot of combination routes. They run a lot of clear outs where if you're on the backside of a defense, you can't go to sleep because there are designed plays to get, a player isolated. And you know that Deebo Samuel is that player. If he gets the ball in his hands, he's not an easy tackle. He looks to score. He's an explosive player. So listen, I kind of know what to expect offensively. I know what the effort's going to be. I know what the execution is going to be. I don't know what to expect defensively. And I am super hopeful that they can put it together because they've done it. They've had quarters. They've had halves. They've had 3/4 of a game. But they have to put it together and play above the X's and O's of what they've been playing. They've got those types of players, and they just got to put a plan together for them. And then they got to tackle, and then they got to take good angles, all the basics. But at the end of the day, get off of blocks and make tackles. You're going to have a chance.
Do you feel a little bit like a broken record, right? I mean, we are into week 15 of the NFL season. Giants have played 13 games. Washington's played 13 games. Like, we're kind of talking about the same stuff we talked about earlier in the season. I guess that's what happens when you get to 2-11, right? It's the same things appear over the course of the season. I think about the optimism standing on the field with you and Howard. My son Will was there. We were talking with John Mara. I think about that opening game in Washington and sort of the optimism coming off preseason of what this team could be offensively. And, the game started just like last season, where you couldn't even get the ball across midfield and wind up losing a 21-6 game that was imminently winnable. And it's just amazing how this season unraveled in a lot of different ways. But the optimism in week 1 was off the charts about this team.
Yeah. That's the part that really makes you scratch your head because you saw what you saw in training camp and you were very excited about the players on the roster, the possibilities. And then the season starts and it starts to look the same. And then you start to feel like, okay, are they going to turn this thing around or are they just going to be the team that they were last year? And then you start, that Dallas game happens, Denver happens, and you feel like, okay, there's some progress here. This team can, get it together and win their share of games. Nobody expected them to win 10, 12 games, but, be in that middle of the pack and show progress, show growth because you have the talent base to do so. But the thing that is still perplexing to me is that what should have been the strength of the team is the weakest part of the team. I thought the defense would be the area that held the rope until the offense found its footing, until the rookie quarterback, kind of got his sea legs. Well, rookie quarterback jumped in there and there was no issue. He found his sea legs right away. The offensive line is super productive. All the areas. Well, is John Michael Schmidt's going to be, people were saying he was a waste of time, a bust of a draft pick. And then, Runyon and Van Roten, what are they going to do there? Those guys are average at best. And, Jermaine Illuminor, okay, yeah, he's okay. And all of those guys do is show up every week and they are productive. They play as a unit. But we watch this defense in training camp and it's like, wow, these guys are going to be getting after it. You lose Micah McFadden, but you still have your core players there. And it's the most disappointing part of it, because I just thought that they would be the group that really, carried the team and let the offense grow. But the offense has grown exponentially, and the defense is what we see, and that part is disappointing. And there'll be an autopsy at the end of the season, but from where I sit in my knowledge base, there's no reason for this team to be as bad as they are with the skill sets of some of the players that they have there.
Yeah, I mean, and you think about the Washington game and the optimism going into it, the disappointment of it looking so much like last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Dallas game comes the next week, and you're like, all right, here we go. And then the defense, I mean, Russell Wilson, he's turning back the clock. Malik Neighbors, look at all this. Mm-hmm. And then it just went, wah, wah. Then the defense doesn't get a stop. And I think I've mentioned on this show before, I used the Coughlin line, talk is cheap. That was one of his famous lines or whatever. I think we all bought the cheese a little bit about the defense, in the sense that on paper, we believed all these things to be true. But it's not like this is a defense that had, 4 or 5 years of currency where you can, like we kind of do with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, right? They've played such good defense for such a long time that you default to eventually they'll get it figured out or they'll be good. We kind of put our eggs in our basket in an unproven commodity. I saw national people, former players that are on TV talking about, this could be a top 5 defense. And I kept watching this stuff, and I'd be like, under what basis are you saying that? And I'm not admonishing them. I was just, the Coughlin thing kept dinging through my head, but they haven't done it as a group yet.
No.
And it turned out to be a mess.
Yeah. I'm going to always be supportive of Giants coaches and, want the best from week to week. Last week could have sucked, and I'm going to want them to be better this week and believe that they can get some things accomplished. But the one conclusion that I have drawn, just based on the talent and where they are right now, is that they lack a plan. I don't think they have a plan for their talent. The talent, well, let's put it this way. They come in with a game plan every week. And Charlie Bullen, this is his second week, so this is not reflective of him. But the way you deploy your skill set with some of these players, it was just vanilla, and we talked about it on our crossover pod with Chris Biz. It's like, someone said that the defense it's basically in missionary all the time. Just what you see is what you get. And there's no reason why they could not have been more creative, more multiple. And, we're in the last 4 weeks of the season. I don't know what Charlie's going to do. I saw he tried to do some things in New England. New England was, pretty well prepared for it, but that's the part that I guess really worries me. And this is a conversation for another day as they start to, interview candidates, and some of those candidates are going to be on the staff that get interviewed. I just want to make sure that people that are doing these things make sure that they hear a plan and they understand what they're hearing. And there's just too much talent for them to look like they look every week on defense. Even with the injuries, they got enough talent to really cover up some of their deficiencies. And it's just, it's disappointing. We'll see how I just want them to go out and ball out for the next 4 weeks, Bob, defensively. Show us that you're not as bad as it shows on paper. Show us that you can stop the run, and go out there and have some fun. You look at some of the players that have developed, right? Roy Robinson Harris has been a contributor, right? Nacho has been a contributor, but it all looks the same, right? You haven't done anything creatively to get them going. Darius has been, as a rookie, coming on each week. So when you look and you evaluate and you say, yeah, as an individual, he's gotten better. As an individual, he's grown from training camp to where we are now. You can look at all the guys individually, but the guys who have to put together the plans have not exploited the growth of these players. And then you go to the back end of the defense. What have you done to Drew Phillips that he's taken a step backwards? What have you done to Tyler Nubin that all of a sudden he never plays with confidence and he's just playing semi-confused? That's a talent base. When those guys were drafted, and you can't tell me that the Drew Phillips from his rookie year is the same guy that you're looking at on the field now. He was a confident tackler. He was sure of himself. And then it's all of a sudden these bad habits form. Then you go out and you get a corner and you get a safety. Do they look any different? Did they upgrade? Do they look like it's an upgrade? Both guys, and for fans, they'll look at it and say it was a trash pick. I don't think so. I just think that the way they're deploying these guys, it's just not to their benefit. You need a plan and someone who can, and this is, again, Charlie Bullen, and I'm hoping for the best and that this week looks better than last week, but he don't have a lot of time, to put together what it should look like, right? So he's gonna hit it on the fly, right? He's got fix-a-flat, basically. That's all he can do. That's all he's got. Every week it's fix-a-flat. He can't overhaul the steering and the suspension and the traction and all of this stuff. It's only so much he can do. But I'm hopeful that as players, they can execute better. They can do the things that within their power, and that's to tackle, to get off blocks, and to hustle to the football. You do enough of that against a team like Washington, you got a chance to win it, because you're boxing in your weight class. But Don't let the team that has a good right punch that telegraphs it all the time, don't get sucker punched with it every time they need it, meaning Deebo Samuel, right? Prepare for it, execute, and you'll win the game.
Yeah, I saw Noah Brown return to practice coming off the IR. The Jersey kid has killed the Giants. Debo had a 19-yard touchdown. It's so funny that you bring this stuff up, Carl, because it's I agree with you. I mean, they made a change at the secondary coaches. I'm not sure that necessarily worked, for whatever the reasons are. And you're right. Like, I'll promote our other show, Big Blue Weekly, our TV show that we do that airs on MSG and segments air on the Giants social media platforms. And in your strategy segment, you go to the coach's tape and you kind of show a blitz pressure that Washington gets. And I was so impressed because they sent the linebacker and they sent the safety from the same side. And the back is like betwixt and between, and you illustrate this great. He takes the guy on the inside. But the way that the safety came on the blitz is he didn't just come initially at what could be the other hole that could be open. He actually hid behind the rusher, the edge rusher, as he was running and almost went like right behind him. And at the last second, he veers around and then he's got a clear path to the quarterback. That's a creativity that I'm not necessarily sure we've seen this year, like that the Giants have been able to implement. And because you always talk about it's not just do they blitz, do they not? Where's the blitz coming from? But are you telegraphing it? I thought that was like brilliant the way they did it because I don't think the back even saw that guy coming because he was hiding behind a guy that is twice his size in the edge rusher.
Right. And to make that execution work the way it did, the one blitzer that he did see blitzed him to the inside so that it opened up that lane. So when that defensive back came off, it was a wide open lane and the back couldn't get to him because the inside blitzer took the inside lane. So they're blitzing with purpose. They understand that if you get this guy to go here, you got a free lane. If he doesn't go there, then you got a free lane to the quarterback. So blitzing is not just sending a bunch of people and with no purpose. You've got to have a purpose and you got to have a plan for all of these pressure packages. It's not that, hey, we're going to send 7. How are you going to send them? You're going to send them all through the same drain, and they're going to clog it up, or you're going to, tell everybody what their responsibilities are and make sure they know how to do it.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating the way you talked about it. And you can watch it again on MSG or the Giants social media platforms. Just the way that you described when that inside backer comes on the blitz, if he doesn't take on the inside shoulder of the running back, that drain, that lane becomes a bottleneck. It becomes clogged. If he goes to the back's left shoulder, well, all the momentum in that situation is going to close that hole, and the blitzing safety, when
they're going to run into each other. They'll run right into each other.
And that's the attention to detail that, you see that we don't necessarily understand, but like it's really down to that. Like that guy was coached. When you come on this blitz that we have called with the safety coming off your right side, you have to engage that guy's right shoulder
to the inside
to the inside. And if he sees the other guy coming and steps out, well, now you're going to blow right by him and kill the quarterback.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, that's the way it should look. When you're a blitzing team, you have to rehearse those things and you have to do it with purpose and you have to be disciplined as a blitzer to make sure you do that, but we are where we are. I'm only hoping for the best. They have a talent, a skill set that's still available, that's going to show up on Sunday. A lot of Giants fans will probably be finding something else to do the weekend, but they're going to be monitoring this game, and those faithful who sit in those seats, give them something to feel great about. Like, feel good about your team for a week. Raise the morale of the fan base so that they don't walk out cursing and doom texting and doom tweeting and being hateful. Just, give them something to go home with. Complete a game, finish it. You're at home. I don't know if Washington's going to travel with many fans either, because they got the same record. Unless they want to go to American Dream and shop, or go into New York City to see the tree. And they might go to the game or they might not. They may use the game as an excuse to come to New York, but give this fan base, those faithful who show up, give them something to go home really happy about, and make them frustrated. Make them say, where the hell was this the other 12 games of the season? That's what you want to do. You want to give them that and say, okay, I see that you guys are capable. Where was this the last 13 games? But I'll take this one, and I'll take one next week also.
Yeah, I mean, Washington traditionally, their fans have never really traveled great to Giants Stadium or MetLife Stadium, whereas, the old RFK, there was always a ton of Giant fans there. And because the Commanders under Daniel Snyder were such a mess, I mean, half the lower bowl was Giant fans at the current stadium. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to have Giants fans coming. There's a nostalgic component of it. I think the Giants are going to do some things as far as legacy, as far as the scoreboard's concerned, looking back at, 86, 90, no presentations or anything, but just kind of tap into that legacy motif. And, let's make it kind of a legacy feel when the Giants would dominate this team. Again, 82-83. Carr was still playing for Michigan State the last time the Commanders or the Washington franchise beat the Giants in a sweep in back-to-back seasons. So I think they're going to come out and play well. I don't feel like this is a let go of the rope game. I think they were a little embarrassed by their performance because they played so well in all those losses against all of those teams that are playoff bound or fringe playoff teams. And I would expect that they'll and the other component to this, Carl, the team is promoting it, and rightfully so. And the players are promoting it personally as well. I mean, this is Pro Bowl voting time of year, and guys want to get recognition. So I would expect that, guys are going to want to put their best foot forward, make the home fans happy. Hopefully they're going to go out and vote because who knows what it means in guys' contracts as far as bonuses and stuff. So I think they'll play well.
I'm hopeful, man. I'm rooting for them, and you can't convince me that this team defensively talent base is not better than what they're playing. And there obviously are a lot of factors that have gone into that. The remaining guys on the field, give them a plan. I don't know what Charlie can do. He's got probably had a warehouse full of fix-a-flat. That's all he can do. Because you can't put structurally a lot in, being on the job for 4 weeks in no training camp, right? So you got to work with what you got and get them motivated to play. And the easiest way to do that, especially when you're playing a team that has a similar record, which means they've got similar flaws, is to focus on the basics. Focus on the basics, and then you sugar in a little bit of the little spice, right? But it's all about the basics right now. Get the guy to the ground, tackle him, cover, be where you're supposed to be, communicate with each other. Those are all the basics of playing defense. And if you can do that, you'll be able to get some things done Sunday.
Yeah, and just the final, I don't want to backtrack here, but I'm going to backtrack here. Just talking about the plan, and the plan it never seemed secure defensively, or it never seemed coordinated. There's 2 players that the Giants signed this offseason. Well, 3 players. I was excited about Javon Holland.
Mm-hmm.
I was excited about Roy Robertson Harris, who has done some good things this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really pumped about the signing of Chauncey Golston. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I watched this guy play his whole career, and he's been a really good player. And I know he's had neck issues that have hampered him this season, but even before he had the neck issues, I thought, man, this is a really smart signing between him and Roy Robertson Harris to spell the guys up front, to be good against the run. Golston's always been good against the run, and to just add veteran depth to the mix.
Right.
And Chauncey Golston, and I'm not knocking Chauncey Golston, but he just looks like very average out there. Like
This guy.
not, yeah. And Holland kind of like just a guy. Like, and I'm sitting there saying, this just can't be these guys, right? There has to be more to it. The plan, how to utilize them. Have we figured out what they do good, and how can we accentuate what they do to make them more impactful players? And none of it ever really materialized.
Right. And I wouldn't expect fans to really understand when I say you need a plan. And that's a plan week to week. And that's, when you want to hold players accountable, coaches are accountable too, to a plan. You've got to articulate that. And
well, yeah, I'm speaking to the plan, not the players.
Right.
And that's it.
Right. And so when you bring in talent, your job as the person who coordinates the defense is to articulate how you're going to use that talent. What do they do best? I mean, general managers, they are judged on performance, not the selection, right? So they bring in the talent doesn't perform, and all of a sudden it looks like, well, the GM just picked a bust. That's not necessarily the case. Drew Phillips comes to mind, right? Tyler Nubin comes to mind. When they've gone backwards, not forward, but when they stepped on the field, they were good players, right? Deontay Banks is, that's going to be one that's going to be discussed a long time. I mean, his rookie year, he was good. And then all of a sudden he took a step backwards. And, I don't even know what his motivation is from play to play, not even week to week or year to year. Can someone crack the code? Because he's going to be in football next year. Can you get him to play these last 4 games? Right? He's too talented. Contrary to what a lot of people think, his physical skill set, he's talented, but can you get him going, or is this not the place for you right now? And that would be a shame, because that would be another high drafted cornerback that just never put it together, and that's just, it comes down to the plan, and it's important, folks. Again, this ain't about Charlie Bullen right now, and I hope that he can get something going so that, he could be part of an interview process. But, he's working with Fix-A-Flat. That's all he got right now.
It's funny, too, because you mentioned that. It's amazing how guys stick around. I mean, Eli Apple is still in the league. I'm watching the Chargers the other night, and they get an injury on the offensive line, and Bobby Hart is still playing in the league. Not well.
Yeah.
But the guy's carved out like a 12-year career.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Hey, just in wrapping up here, Carl, holidays are coming. Hey, we're, as of this recording on December the 10th, we're 15 days out of Christmas. Anything left in stock at Starter at this point? If people needed a holiday gift?
Yeah, Starter. Go to starter.com. There is some stuff there. This great sweatshirt here that I thought was really going to kick us off last training camp, but it's still great quality. But there is stuff on the website, not a whole bunch, but starter.com is, you go there first, and then you go to QVC or HSN and type in Giants. There should be some good selections there if you missed out on some of our great shows there. And where else? Fanatics. Fanatics always has stuff, but if you want an intimate shopping experience, starter.com, QVC, HSN, and then you'll be inundated with a lot of other brands if you go to Fanatics, but they're a good partner of mine, but they sell everybody else too. So you'll have selections.
And if you go there and you see size unavailable, this one's unavailable, that one's unavailable, probably shouldn't have waited until December 10th.
You missed out.
It's amazing.
But
you're in the retail world, my man. You're in the retail world. Isn't it amazing how people would start shopping after Thanksgiving and there would be stuff to be had now? You try to find stuff now. Like, I'm looking for this Lap Brothers stuff or whatever, this baseball wear. It's got like, you better start shopping in October for Christmas.
That is so true. So true. And it's interesting because even before Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving, you see all of this stuff. And even by Black Friday, most of it's gone because they have the pre-Black Friday sale. So, but I know there are fans out there that are above a size XX. So if you're looking for 2X and above, then go to QVC and HSN. They have, my product that goes up to 4X.
There you go. All right. We'll be back, I guess, Monday morning to recap what happens on Sunday. Carl, how do we like to end this thing?
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Believe in Giants.
Believe in Giants.